So the first episode dropped, I believe it was a couple of days ago, new Rory and Mal podcast episode 1. And in this episode, they talked pretty much about what they've been doing, what's been going on between Rory and Mal. They also talked about they talked about music, they talked about some social events, and they also talked about what they're going to have in store for future episodes of new Rory and Mal. Now, a lot of people did not like the very first episode. Me personally, I thought it was average. If you had to hold me to a score, 1 to 10, I give it a solid 7. It's pretty decent. I don't understand why people are so critical about it. Maybe because people still want Rory and Mal to elaborate between their relationship with Joe Budden. I felt like, and I've been saying this on several episodes, and I feel like Joe Budden has been holding on to the past, and Rory and Mal has been holding on to the past, talking about their differences and things of that nature. But eventually, you're going to have to step up and move to your future. And I'm so happy that Rory and Mal is no longer talking about Joe Budden, and Joe Budden is no longer talking about Rory and Mal, even though he talked about their relationship as far as friendship and business relationship on Migos Podcast. But other than that, in which, by the way, I watched that Migos Podcast. I mean, he's pretty much been saying the same thing he has been saying. You didn't learn anything new from Joe Budden concerning the friendship between Joe Budden and Rory and Mal. I don't think there's nothing there, nothing to salvage. But nevertheless, I kind of dig this podcast. Like I said, a lot of people did not like this podcast, and at the end of the day, this is they're trying to blaze their own trail. They're doing what works for them, what's best for them. I don't think they're going to be like a shock type of podcast where they're going to have a personality that people always gravitate. They want to hear what that personality is going to say or what's going to utter out of their mouths. They left that type of individual, and that was Joe Budden. At the end of the day, the Joe Budden Podcast, people wasn't tuning into the Joe Budden Podcast because they wanted their fix of what's going on in the music world or in the entertainment world. Let's just call it for what it is. Let's just keep it a buck. People tune into the Joe Budden Podcast to pretty much wait to see what Joe Budden's going to say. And I feel like with Rory and Mal, they're not into that shocking moments or what they're going to say that's shocking or anything of that nature. I think they're going to stick to what makes it great for these two guys, which is, I feel like they're going to be talking about a lot of things in the music industry. They're also going to be talking about the sports world. They're also going to be talking about fashion, things of that nature. What's current in pop culture and in the social media world. And I feel like that is great for Rory and Mal. Okay, they don't need another individual there for people to tune in to see what that individual is going to say next, or what Rory and Mal are going to say next. And I feel like that's working great for Rory and Mal. And Joe Budden is still being Joe Budden. He knows that the main reason why people gravitate to his podcast just to hear what he's going to say. No matter if it's ridiculous, no matter if it's left field, or it's something that you can co-sign and agree to. Okay, and that's why people flock to the Joe Budden Podcast. It didn't have anything to do with trying to keep up with what's going on in the entertainment world or the music world. And even Joe Budden alluded to, he was really tired of talking about music, okay? Because he doesn't identify to these younger cats. Okay, let's just call it what it is. I mean, He's just not attached to the younger artists out there. There's like a disconnect, okay? I feel like he's still going to do the pull-up episodes on the Joe Budden podcast. He might do a couple of those and talk about the hot latest artists of that particular time. But he's not going to really gravitate into what's going on in the music world, what albums are dropping and things of that nature. But I feel like Rory and Mal will, and they're going to add a lot of substance to it, and they're going to give you guys and share their opinions about what new artist is going to be coming out. I still feel like if you're into music, there are other people that do it well and do it better than Joe Budden and Rory and Mal. I mean, DJ Academics, if you want to get into, if you're a music head, there are other lanes you can go to get your music news fix, get your music fix about, okay? But, nevertheless, I wish these guys the best of luck. I'm going to me personally, I'm going to be listening to their podcast, and just give them my support and things of that nature until, if it falls off, I may fall off with it as well. I think it's a very decent, average podcast, what they got going on. I don't think that what they're going to have is going to dethrone the Joe Budden podcast. The Joe Budden podcast is still going to be in the top 5. The top 5. I feel like a lot of people are going to gravitate to that podcast. Even though I feel like $1 Million Worth of Game is the best podcast, I feel like a lot of people are gravitating to more. But he's going to always be in the top 5, maybe the top 10. If he drops a little bit, no further than the top 10. And I feel like Rory and Mal are trying to find their way, okay? And they're going to be experimenting on these next several episodes to see what we really like to listen to, okay? So that's all I got for the Rory and Mal podcast. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.